I'm Elamin Abdelmahmoud, and this is Commotion. Look, the federal budget dropped this week. That document, 493 pages long, and for most people, there weren't a lot of surprises in there. But there was one. There was one idea, and that's the idea that Canada could participate in Eurovision, ? Since Canada's famously not in Europe, I need to sort of understand this. Karen Fricker joins us every single year on the show to talk about Eurovision. Karen, help me make sense of this, pal. Nice to see you. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you? I'm not used to being here to talk to you about Eurovision.
I know. Usually
at this
you're
time
there.
Of year.
Usually you're there. So let's get a very specific idea of like what was in the budget. What did it say about Canada and Eurovision?
It was just one line, and it was talking about the CBC Radio Canada, more money for yourselves. That's fantastic. The government will explore modernizing CBC Radio Canada's mandate to strengthen independence and is working with CBC Radio Canada to explore participation in Eurovision. That's all it said.
Explore participation in Eurovision. So we don't know how or why this ended up in the federal budget.
Well, some Global News asked the finance minister, what? And he said...
Probably in that tone.
Yes.
Yeah.
This was something that was asked by the people who participate, and I think it's a platform for Canada to shine. That is ambiguous phrasing. The people who participate, does he mean the European broadcast?
Did they ask? Did we ask?
We don't know.
We don't know.
We
That's
don't
still
know.
an open question.
Yes.
All right, why, just for a moment, before we sort of get deeper into the story, why would someone think this might be a good idea?
That is the question. I mean,
Okay.
The contest has been going through some very rough times that we've talked about here about the fact that Israel participates.
Yeah.
If Israel continues to participate next year, a couple of countries have definitively said they will not join.
Which countries?
Ireland and Spain. And Spain's a big deal because it's one of the biggest funders. So on the one hand, you could think about the EBU, the organizers, maybe saying, what if we need more competitors? Mm-hmm. And the other piece that's feeding into this is that we can kind of understand that our prime minister knows his Eurovision. Because he has tweeted about the fact that around the time of this year's contest, it was the new Pope's inaugural, and he met the Australian Prime Minister, and he tweeted about how he had sent his condolences about Gojo not advancing.
Oh, wow.
And that is super insider Eurovision discourse.
It tells you that he's like a close watcher, if you will.
It sounds like he's a fan.
Gojo, that's the
Australian singer did not qualify, and this was a heartbreak for the Australian nation. And Mark Carney decided that was a good thing to tweet about, which says to me that this is a guy who thinks the contest is cool.
The fact that he thinks the contest is cool is one thing. The fact that he thinks it's cool enough for us to go, hey, can we participate in this? I think that's the part that's maybe catching people by surprise here.
Totally.
Because has this ever been floated before?
I mean, there's been discussion of a Canadian competition to select a singer a few years ago. It got mooted in 2022. I did a story about it. It was going to be all 13 provinces and territories competing to choose a Eurovision song. Didn't go anywhere because it was quite complicated. So that died on the vine, and yet here we are back again in this conversation. I
don't want to pretend that we have no track record or presence at all with Eurovision because Celine Dion won the whole thing competing for Switzerland with this gem back in 1988. There's nothing like looking at old Celine Dion just kind of in her element. It's the greatest thing in the world. Can you help me understand how a Canadian could have won this whole thing? Because, again, Celine Dion, she's from here.
Yes, and she competed for Switzerland.
Yeah.
Because you do not have to be from the country to sing for the country.
Okay.
She is not the only Canadian to have ever competed. Natasha Saint-Pierre competed for France in 2001. Mm-hmm. A woman who styles herself La Zora sang for France in 2023. So it's the contest.
There is a history here.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that makes the contest so bizarre and befuddling is that it's a national contest, but it's actually a national broadcaster contest, and you don't have to come from the country to sing for the country.
I was going to say that we should explain that part, like the idea that like it's not the reason the CBC would be asked to explore this is because this is the national broadcaster, and like that's who competes in Eurovision. It's a bunch of different national broadcasters assembling their own entries.
Yes, specifically public service broadcasters. Mm-hmm. And the contest was created nearly 70 years ago as a way to bring public service broadcasters together to test the capacity to share signal.
Wow.
And it then became, and it's all of this stuff has become associated with it, that it's about national identity and so forth. And of course that follows because people are fronting their country or somebody else's country. But in fact, it is run by broadcasters. And so the fact that this is coming, it seems, from the Canadian government is odd, because usually it would be a broadcaster that would be having the conversation from the beginning. Yeah.
I see. Okay, so what would need to happen for this to be a reality? What would need to happen for Canada to actually be in Eurovision?
There would need to be the combined will of this broadcaster and the government and find the money. I mean, I can say that Ireland released the figures this year that it cost them $575,000 Canadian to compete this year. Between paying to compete, you have to pay a fee, and then all of the costs of actually getting their act together and getting it there. So it would probably cost more in Canada. Flights cost more. Is there a will, given, that there's a cost of living crisis? There's so many things going on in the world. Is there the will for this broadcaster and Canada to get behind this? That, to me, is the big question.
You talked to the Eurovision people this morning. You just heard back from them this morning. What did they tell you?
They said all they can say at this point is that they have confirmed that they are in the early stages of discussing Canada's participation with CBC Radio Canada. So the EBU is talking to the CBC. A budget is by nature a political document, right? And so, of course, this is a bit controversial. A Conservative MP, Andrew Lawton, posted on X, quote, "Can't afford groceries, ? Don't worry. The Liberal budget is exploring participation by CBC in Eurovision." That's the thing you were just talking about. This idea of in the middle of a cost of living crisis, is this the right time to do it? Karen, how do you think this Eurovision proposal makes the federal government look right now? It depends on how you look at it. Sure. I can see the point of view that's this is just like bread and circuses. Why are we talking about joining this new European thing? On the other hand, it's fun and it's a distraction. And look at how everybody got behind the Jays. And is this something where we could all come together to cheer for Canada in a benign competition of song that actually is full of interesting underlying political meanings?
I'll tell you this, I work in this building. I have no horse in this race about whether we enter Eurovision or not. But I do think that there is a cost to underestimating the value of culture in bringing us together, right? And the idea of a cultural moment, like you said, as the Jays did, the idea of a whole country sort of focused on a thing, watching a thing unfold and saying, this is us on that stage, and that matters to us. And I guess tell me about the ways that those sort of songs and entries in Europe are sort of seen by their own countries. How much do those countries get behind their own entries?
You get behind your own act. And I've seen this because I've been following the contest for 25 years. And I'm in the journo pack and I'm in the fan pack. Even if your song is terrible, you will always be backing your own horse because the national pride comes with it. I mean, you look at Australia, right? This is one of the things that people find so bizarre about the contest is that Australia has been competing for 10 years. They have the same status of membership with the EBU as we do. But there's all of this national pride that it is Australia in Europe, right? Look at us, we're representing. And, we're still in the Commonwealth here in Canada, so we have strong European ties. So I can see how there could be a pride that we would be the North American country competing, not another certain other North American country. I mean, it's also a moment where we can be the better North American country that has great relations with Europe as opposed to them down there.
Because it can symbolize sort of all of those things. And also, I should say, we were talking earlier, and I was like, you know what I would like, Karen, is because these productions get so theatrical, is just a grand stage where one of our new crop of stars is just doing the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald on stage at Eurovision, except you're seeing the sinking of the ship on the stage. Am I thinking too grand?
Well, it's your broadcaster that would have to foot that bill, but I would love to see it too.
I think that every time that I sort of think, okay, this is the top of the line in terms of how dramatic and theatrical Eurovision could get, every year I'm proven wrong. Every year they go, no, we can go way more operatic than this.
Pyro, hydraulics, operatics, whole theatrical stagings of stories. That's kind of the trend at the moment. So. Elamin, I don't know. I think you started it here. I think we need to make this happen.
I'll tell you this. When I think about the word operatic, the nation of Canada does not come to mind. So I'm sure curious what our entry would look like. In the meantime, Karen, I got to say thank you. Thanks so much for being here, friend.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much. Karen Fricker is a critic, editor, and academic based in Toronto and Commotion's Eurovision correspondent. My name is Elamin Abdelmahmoud. This show is called Commotion. This weekend, I'm going to be in Halifax at the Literary Festival there, but I'll see you on Monday. Emil Niazi's in tomorrow. Have a great day.